Pengani with the sound Sangoma. Today I'm going to show you how to do a pre-master. A lot of people have been asking me, how do I actually do a pre-master? Do I actually do master my own music or other people's music? To be honest with you, it's something that just happened by accident because I just wanted to get my songs to a point where the artist could listen to. But now it has become something that I do want to frequent. So, I have this song that you guys have seen me work on. I just felt like it would be cool for me to bring the same song that I worked on so I can see you maybe the process that's going to happen, the final process. So this is the song. She can break it down, so it all with my tool. So that's the sound, eh? And then the first thing that I'll probably do is just have an EQ. The EQ for me is just to take out what I don't like, if there is. Boost a little bit of what I like if there is before I even go to anything, So in this instance, I'm taking this out. So if you listen to this, two eyes. She can break it down, so it all with my two eyes. That's what I'm actually getting rid of. Going down. And then I went to cut a little bit of lows. Lows are a problem. I don't want anything to do. I can go a little bit up because I don't want my compressors and everything being triggered by frequencies that I'm not gonna even use anyway. So that EQ helps. Most of the time the EQ is there to do this. But yeah, sometimes I play around with that just to get a tone. And then from there I go to compressor. This is how called version analog, ratio of 2, attack all the way down, even threshold all the way down. Again, a little bit of pipe, one on the pipe, no for a pipe, who put out the pipe, one on the pipe, no for a pipe, who put out the pipe. Not on the grand, just catching, it's not doing a lot, just catching a little bit of that kick drum, which is at the highest point. And then there's a saturator. This is something new that I've been playing around, and I like the way it sounds, just bend it a little bit. The thing is this, I can experiment however I want because at the end of the day I can get the clean one out, so it's not something that I'm printing. So I go crazy and experiment with this. So listen to what this is doing. Fighting. Go share and run till the way all night. Put a track and shoot, but needing a back, half a check, who cut this in a cake, who not the party, put the get, who for us to get, Panama dead, fashion on my neck, or we not the bet, Faranga said, who was a jet, one on the pipe. It becomes a little bit warmer, and then I make sure that I don't overload it that much and then compensating on the output. That's the only thing that's saturated there. Sometimes I have a saturator, sometimes I wouldn't have it. It's not a basic. And then I have the first limiter. Pipe, one on the pipe, no for a pipe, who cut out the pipe. So the first limiter for me is just there to make sure that I never ever get to that zero, So I'm gonna, cause on the next step I'm gonna be doing a lot of like EQ and level changes. So here I'm just making sure that I can actually keep that in one place, and then I can gain a little bit, get a little bit of level going into the next plugin because I like the next plugin, with some level. So this is basically. And the pipe, no for a pipe, who cut out the pipe. And it just gives it a little bit of chatness, and then I go to the TG mastering chain. This is something new that I've been using. It's not again, it's something that I experiment with. I like the fact that I can have all of these modules and I can put the modules wherever I want, and then it gives me a color. I like the color. So this is what I did for this song. Run on the pipe, don't find a pipe, we cut out the pipe, pipe. I mean, and then the one thing I like about the TG mastering suit, again, is the stereo spreader and this. She can break it down, so it all with my 2 eyes. Chain bands and a black nigga, that's a new price. She got me going down, down, yeah, I'm nice. You know what I mean? So I treat a little bit of the nose. Most of the time I like working in MS, because in MS I can do, like for example, Run on the pipe, don't find a pipe, who cut out the pipe, pipe. Run on the pipe, don't find a pipe, who cut out the pipe, pipe. Run on the pipe, don't find a pipe, who cut out the pipe, pipe. Run on the pipe, don't find a pipe. Cool. So what I'm doing here with the MS is just making sure that my middle, I'm EQing it different to the side. It helps even in my stereo and spreading my stereo, just making sure that vocal is very, very prominent in the center. There's this frequency here, if you listen to it. That's where my vocal is very, very clear. I'm giving it like a 4 dB so that my voice stays clear. And then the low frequencies, again, I'm making sure that I do that and just a little bit of sizzle. On the sides, I want a lot of highs. I don't want any of the lows, and then some of the mids. And then the limiter is doing a parallel. It's catching some of that, an original too, you know. And then we have a filter. I like playing with the presence again. I went to the thru, that's where the vocal is, just to make sure that the vocal comes out a little bit. So basically that's what the TG is doing. And then I have the F6 again. This F6, I use it in if I put, for example, the meter here. Let me just find the meter. No, I'm looking for TS Rex meters. If I put this here, just looking at the energy in this, I don't want to see anything there. So if you check this out, see how now you have a lot of energy there by 30, so I don't want that energy. I need to get it, so that EQ just helps me control that a little bit, and just tone it when I'm going. And then we have the magic thing, which is the loudness, perceived loudness. Run on the pipe, no for a pipe, who cut out the pipe, pipe. So what I'll do is I'll make the pipe like artifacts I don't like. So for example, I'll be using meters, but most of the time it's just cranking it up. Pipe. Not on the grand and done. Chico thought that I'm fighting. Go share and dwana. Did the way all night. So for me, that will be the track and shoot. Fanga check, kadisa na keke, kuna tipati pupezi keche, fura zikete, bana matet, fascisa manet, kowina zibet, faranga set, pupa sa jet. Run on the pipe, no fara pipe, pupa the pipe, pipe, pipe. start, feeling the artifacts. So it's the loudness war, not really the loudness war, but the thing is, you gotta, if I'm gonna be putting the song for streaming, most of the streaming services are on an average of like minus 14 AUFS, but Spotify loud is like at minus 10. So my target most of the time is on the 11 range, the 12 range, because I know I'm close to the loudest when it comes to Spotify, and I'm still close enough to adhere with everybody who Apple Music and Tidal and all of them. Pipe, one on the pipe, don't find a pipe, who got the pipe, 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 pipe. Right, so for me, one on the pipe, if I give you this, for example, let me show you this. If I give you this to listen to as an artist, and say this is your mix, pipe, pipe, compared to this, pipe, one on the pipe, don't find a pipe, who got the pipe, pipe. I think you understand where I'm coming from. So basically that's what my pre-mixing will be, and then from there I'll be playing it, and then I readjust. The beauty of it is I can readjust if I feel like my drums are not really sitting where I want it, when I squash it and everything, when I get the loudness out of it. I can readjust. If I feel like my vocal is not coming out, I can readjust. So basically that's what I do in my pre-master. Most of the time it changes, but there's still basic things. For example, the EQ is always going to be there, the compressor is always going to be there, the saturator, it depends. The first limiter is always going to be there. The 8 TG mastering suite, it depends. Sometimes I don't put it there, sometimes I put it there, sometimes I just run one module, sometimes I run the whole thing. And then the second EQ, it can be a different EQ, but I like the F6. I don't know, it just sounds, it gives me a different sound, and I like the sound of it. And then I'll have the L1 last to give me the last level. Sometimes I'll even stack like limiters, and then I'll have 2 limiters on top of that, but I don't do it most of the time. Even with compress, sometimes I'll have 2 compressors depending on the dynamics and everything of the song, because sometimes I just don't want, I want the other compressor maybe to be reacting a lot to the attacks and taming that, and another one just acting a lot on the body of the instruments. But like I said, this kind of like gives me a place where I know if I'm in the studio quickly and we do something and I do a quick mix, I can actually give it to the artist and they can listen to it without being bothered by level. And most of the time when I send this to artists and I send it to mastering engineers, they would just rather go with the pre-master that I have. Of course, there's going to be things that are going to get tweaked a little bit, but they'd rather just work from there, because I kind of like give them a direction of where I want the song to go, or where I feel like the artist want the song to go. Thank you again for tuning in. Chitangani with the Sound Sangoma. Thank you for the love, man. We just made 150 subscribers. I'm really, really happy. Under a month and some days. That's very, very big for me, and I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to tune into that In the State podcast. Starting every Wednesday, we're going to be talking about everything: independent state of mind, independent state of economics, independent state of education, whatever you think about health, wealth, we're going to talk about it so we can help each other. Again, it's your brother in sound, the Sound Sangoma. Peace.